Can we talk about hiring? Because people are constantly asking me, when should I hire? How many people should I hire? How much should I pay these people? And how do I get over earnings guilt when my business starts to make money? How do I get over feeling bad about making all of that money? Great conversation. So first and foremost, let's talk about what happens inside of a big corporation when it comes to hiring. Inside of big corporations, they have budgets. They don't just arbitrarily hire people. They have budgets that are allocated that tell a business unit leader exactly how much money that they can spend when it comes to hiring folks. Your business is no different. So in order for you to make good decisions around hiring, it requires you to roll up your sleeves and dig into the numbers a little bit, because the answer on how many people should you hire and how much should you pay them really depends on the financial health of your business. So let's talk about it. If, for example, your business generates $100,000 a year or $100,000 a month, you as a business owner should know a couple of things. One, do you have a cost of goods associated with that number? If you are in a retail business, likely if you are investing or if you are generating, tripping over my words here, $100,000 in sales, your cost of goods would be what you pay for, let's say, the widget that you are selling. And so maybe 20,000 out of the 100,000 is cost of goods. Then you need to know, what is the cost of doing business? Cost of doing business could be rent, heat, hydro, internet, marketing fees, bank charges, cell phone bill, software, anything that you pay for on a regular basis to run your business would come out of that 100,000, and it would be called the cost of doing business, or your general and administrative expenses. The next thing you want to look at is, how much profit do you want? So let's say you have $100,000 in sales and it cost you $20,000 to buy the stuff that you sold. You now are working with $80,000. Well, out of that $100,000, how much did you want to be profit? Maybe you wanted a $30,000 profit margin. So now if you set $30,000 aside for profitability of the business, you are left with $50,000 to work with when it comes to paying for the operations of the business and your team. So you need to look at, how much are you going to pay yourself and how much are you going to pay your employee? And what happens a lot of times is we don't look at these things logically. We look at them emotionally. We want to be good people. We want to compensate fairly. We feel bad that the person is driving a beater and we want to help them get a new car. We want to help them get a mortgage, whatever that thing is. That's all well and fine. But you have to first and foremost build a financially successful business that can afford to pay people well. Otherwise, you're putting your business at risk if you overpay too quickly. So if you step back and you look at it like a corporation would look at it, they would have a clearly defined budget that would say, we allocate this percentage of our sales revenue to staffing. Whether it is payroll, subcontractors, whatever, there's a set amount, and they work within that budget so that they can be sure that they always have enough money to pay people. You want to make sure that if you make a commitment to paying someone, that you can actually follow through on that commitment. So let's say you've decided you're going to pay somebody X, but you kind of wished you could pay them more. Here's what I recommend you do. I recommend you introduce what's called variable pay. Variable pay is basically pay for performance. In my company, if you are an employee, we have bonus objectives. And if the company does a certain way, and we split bonus objectives based on team and based on individual, you can earn X amount of additional revenue at the end of the year, or compensation at the end of the year. So you can create structures like that are catered to the things that are most important for you in your business. So if sales are important, then you build them around that. If retention of clients are important, you build them around that. Whatever it is that is most important to you, you can tie performance of your team to the company's goals and objectives and compensate based on the organization and the individual's ability to hit those goals. Another way that you can do variable pay is commission. Maybe you're tired of being the only person who sells in your business. And so you give people opportunities to sell too. And maybe you compensate them depending on your profit margins. If you have a cost of goods, you just, chunked off 20 grand out of that 100. But if you're a service-based business and you don't have a cost of goods, then you've got 20 grand that you could be working with in different ways. So think about what you want your commission structure to be, and you can compensate people based on their contribution to the business. I think it's important, if you want to create a positive culture for your organization and have people that stay with you for a long time, that you take a serious look at compensation and that you compensate people fairly and equitably for their contribution. I recommend that you have a compensation range for the roles that you give people. I recommend that you look at compensation and performance on an annual basis. And I recommend that you create a way for people to earn more based on the contribution that they make through variable pay. I think those are all things that are good, but it's not the only reason that people stay. There are other things that you can do that are part of an overall compensation package or culture that make a difference. You could give people additional vacation days so they can have time off with pay. You can give people sick days. You can give people gift cards on their work anniversary and on their birthday, and maybe you give them some special thing at Thanksgiving and at Christmas. There are different things that you can do to make people valued and appreciated. But I will tell you something, I would rather work for an employer, if I was still an employee, who treated me well and valued me and really gave me positive feedback and growth opportunities. I'd rather work for that person than work for somebody who was nasty and mean-spirited but paid me really well. So it's not always just about the money. It's about all of it. So the last thing I want to talk about is earnings guilt, because people get into these situations where in the beginning they don't have a whole lot of money, so they do everything themselves. Then they have a little bit of money, so they hire inexperienced, inexpensive people to do the work. And then they get to a point where they have all kinds of money and they overhire and throw money at problems unnecessarily. And then they start to feel guilty because they have money. Don't do this. When you have money in the bank, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to generate a business. You're supposed to generate a profit in your business, and you're supposed to keep some of that money. The profit that you generate in your business should translate into cash flow in your bank account. When you have cash flow on hand, your business is in a stronger position to last long term and to ride the waves of change. So let me give you an example. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, we lost a few clients, and I made a very conscious decision to talk to everyone on my team who was an employee and share with them how many months worth of cash flow we had in the bank, because I did not want people on my team to be worrying about their job. So don't get yourself into a situation where you feel like you need to spend all of that money, and then down the road you don't actually have working capital to invest in your business, hire an extra person, or have strong enough cash flow to weather the storm. You don't have to share your financials with anybody outside of yourself and your business. If you choose to do that, that is up to you. But you should not feel bad for running a business that is generating a profit, provided you're compensating people fairly, you're giving them opportunities to earn more, and you're creating a culture where they feel valued for their contribution. If you're doing all of that, you deserve to make a profit, and you deserve to pay yourself and pay yourself well too, and to keep some of that profit in the bank so that you have got security and cash flow for operating your business. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. It's a little bit long, a little bit complicated, but I hope that it provided you with value. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.